Good evening and welcome to tonight's show with the Hometown News TV. I'm John Young.
And I'm Lori Young. And in this week's Hometown News, we have Harvey McKay, how to deal with disappointment. More importantly, how do you respond to disappointment and be able to move on? Tom Keene, the good old days. He talks about modern life this week, all the great things, especially with electricity, to help make our life a lot easier. Dave Says gives advice on being focused on paying off debt with the holidays coming up. John, Small Town DIY, do you want to change my internet? Dealing with net neutrality, which happens to be a big thing right now in the news. For this week's upcoming events, we have Freeport. They're having their holiday kickoff on Friday night with horse-drawn wagon rides and hot dogs at the Freeport State Bank, along with all the other festivities going on. New Munich JC's is sponsoring a Winter Wonderland shopping expo this Saturday, December 2nd from 10 to 3 at Elmer Z's in Sauk Center. The Village View has a busy week coming up. They start this Saturday with their annual Christmas party from 12 until 4. And on Wednesday, December 6th, they'll be doing folk and old-time music from 1 to 3 with a potluck to follow at 3:15. And on Thursday, December 7th, they're going to be starting with a 9:30 Mass with some good old-time music to follow at 10 a.m. with a potluck. And they also have Cy Fanenstein will be there performing along with Father Dockendorf and Dolores Walbeck. And this is all happening at the Village View Apartments in Grey Eagle. Friday, December 8th, the Grey Eagle office of the Central Minnesota Credit Union will be holding their holiday open house. Get your picture taken with Santa and get a horse-drawn wagon ride. And remember, this weekend, the Upsala Drama Club is going to be presenting a Christmas Carol, and that will be taking place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday, the performances will be at 7:30 p.m., and on Sunday, it will be at 3 o'clock, and that's at the Upsala School Auditorium. We also have Santa Days coming up in St. Rosa on Saturday, December 16th. And now for this week's obituaries. Jerome E. Suchi, age 84 of Avon, died Tuesday, November 21st. Services were held Tuesday, November 28th at St. Benedict's Catholic Church in Avon. Clarence Decker, age 92 of Little Falls, formerly of Swanville, died Tuesday, November 21st. Services were held Sunday, November 26th at St. John's Lutheran Church in Grey Eagle. David F. Whitey Kemper, age 68 of Sauk Center, Melrose, passed away Monday, November 27th. Service will be held at 2 p.m. Friday, December 1st at St. John the Baptist Catholic Church in Meyer Grove. Marie M. Geisenhoff, age 76 of Long Prairie, passed away on Wednesday, November 22nd. Mass of Christian burial will be at 11 a.m. Saturday, December 2nd at St. Mary of Mount Carmel Catholic Church in Long Prairie. Michael Bearscheidt, age 64 of Holdingford, died Saturday, November 25th. Services were held today, Thursday, November 30th at St. Francis Parish Cemetery in St. Francis. Valeria Bregelman, age 99 of Albany, died Friday, November 24th. Services were held Monday, November 27th at $7 Catholic Church in Albany. Elsie M. Mergen, age 100 of Albany, died Friday, November 24th. Services were held Wednesday, November 29th at the $7 Catholic Church in Albany. And check out the full obituaries in this week's Hometown News. Happy 80th birthday is going out to Irma Fearing Cooper. There's going to be an open house for her on Saturday, December 2nd from 1 to 4 at the Long Prairie American Legion. Our front page photo is a pileated woodpecker by Amy Reeland. Our Minnesota Through the Lens, we have Marcia Vorniak with a picture of a sundog. Look at this sunset on Pelican Lake. This was submitted by Joe Lang. This sunset photo was taken by Steve Borgerding on Thanksgiving Eve over Freeport. Our Swanville October Athletes of the Month went to Lawrence Metler for football and Grace Schultz for volleyball. Congratulations. Swanville November Senior High School Student of the Month goes to Haley Schmidt. Swanville November Junior High School Student of the Month goes to Mason Landowski. Congratulations.
So last week we were looking at the area lakes, and a lot of the lakes had pretty much an ice cover. Some had a little bit of open water, but most of them were covered. This week it's completely open on most lakes once again. There's a little bit of ice, but a lot of water showing.
We've had some really nice temperatures here in the 40s, almost 50s. It's been a really nice, enjoyable November.
We've had our October at the end of November, and now we're going to get ready for winter, unfortunately, next week.
So for those of you who really have some fishing fever going on, I think you need to get your little boat out and go fishing quick, because it's probably going to take a couple weeks before the ice to be safe to be on it again.
What's kind of neat is driving around past the different lakes today is the number of eagles that are out. And of course, I was talking to Tom Keene in Swanville a little bit about this, and he was saying that the eagles kind of follow where the ice and as the water freezes up. And that could be the case, but we do have quite a few eagles in the area. But as I bet I saw a dozen eagles sitting in trees overlooking the edge of the water, and I'm sure they're fishing or hunting, however you want to call it. Speaking of eagles and such, another conversation Tom and I were having today is talking about the lack of small game around the area. Just to the east of us, there's a big flock of turkeys. I haven't seen any of those turkeys at all this year. Last year, we had squirrels all over. We had rabbits all over around our 5 acres here. I haven't seen many at all this year. And I was talking to Tom about that, and he was saying, of course, with the coyote population becoming so prevalent in the area here, basically not only in the Gray Eagle area, but I mean all the way over to Swanville, is that they're not seeing the small animals quite as much as they had in the past. So that was kind of interesting. It wasn't just us.
And of course, our son driving back and forth to Uppsala, he's noticed that the deer harvest was really good this year also, because ever since deer hunting, he's like, I haven't seen a deer between here and Uppsala, but I know that they are still out there because we've had quite a few car crash accidents with deer, but they're not as many. So obviously the deer hunting has probably helped with that a little bit.
Yeah, that took out a lot of 9-point bucks for some reason. All the pictures we had were 9-point bucks this year. It was kind of interesting. One last thing I wanted to touch on is the article this week was about net neutrality. And for a lot of people, you've been hearing about this on the news, where they're talking about the FCC is going to be voting on this here in December, and they're going to be deciding if they should look at removing the internet providers, internet service providers, from the Title II classification, or if they should leave everything alone as it was set up in 2015. And one of the big areas that you're hearing about this is that if they remove it, that the world as we know it's going to crash and burn, really is what some people are saying out there on the internet. And it's really not that extreme of a situation. Yes, there could be some issues and problems and such, but really as an expert was talking about it earlier today, is that one of the areas that it could be is that our internet bill might start to look more like our cable bill, where we can go with our satellite TV or our local cable, is where we can buy this package or this package or this package. And they're talking that might be the direction that this will allow the ISPs to go, is that not only can you pay for speed like we do right now, that we can buy this speed, this speed, or this speed, but we may be buying this speed, this speed, and the video, making our videos faster, or this speed and making sure that we're having more social media going faster. So there's going to be some different ways in which the company is going to work. It's a lot of confusion though right now, and that's the part that's really kind of weird. So if you get a chance, go jump out to today's paper. You can read the article a little bit. I know it's probably, for a lot of you, you're going to read that and it's going to be clear as mud. And as this progresses, we'll try to share more information on it, so it'll hopefully help you understand a little bit more about what's going on, because this could be one of those things, especially as I ended the article talking about that this could be used in the wrong hands to really slant the public opinion, especially as you come into election seasons and such. It really could do a lot of damage with that really quickly, because you got to do that kind of follow the money thing, and in this situation the money is kind of dictating of what's going to happen, and that's never really been a good thing in the history of man, when the people with all the money make the decisions of how the world's going to be.
There's actually an article in this week's Hometown News. Another gentleman had submitted one on the net neutrality, and the voting date is December 14th, somewhere in there.
Something 12th, I believe, is what it was.
And he also had a website that he had put in there for people to go on and just share and to kind of, I think, cast your vote to some extent.
Yeah, to let the FCC know, basically to share your opinion on it. They're hoping that if enough people bombard these websites and sign these petitions, what have you, that they will take this under account and say, oh, yes. But even with all these things happening, the FCC people know that there's really no one who's in support of this beyond the people who are that are the higher ups in the FCC who have been put into that position for just this moment, and then a couple of the big companies like Comcast and Verizon and AT&T, the ones who could stand to be the ones making the most money off this. Yes, it is possible that our local ISPs, where our RVIG or our SciTech and such, they would stand to have a different business model come out of this, but they're not the ones who are going to benefit as much as a Comcast or a Verizon who can dictate. I mean, you look at some of the European ways they handle things, there are fees and things involved that with their cell phone service that we don't pay, and some of that is around this kind of a concept. So again, very kind of confusing time. You can go to the websites, you submit your information and try to sign those petitions and such, but really it's going to come down to, unfortunately, a money situation and money talks. These lobbyists have got a lot of money. There's been tons of money put into this, and we're just going to have to, unfortunately, kind of grin and bear it. And if it's bad enough, hopefully the next election cycle will fix a lot of these issues, but we'll have to see.
And it's one of those things that is such a gray area that how do you even know how to, if you were to sign the petition, because you don't know if by signing it, if you're actually doing any good or if you're actually hurting the process. Yeah,
that's a great point, because it might be that they could be correct that eliminating the net neutrality might be a good thing for the end users. They make it sound like it could be a good thing a little bit, but it maybe is. And that's, again, where experts really can't agree on how this would work out. Some say it would, and they're not the ones who are being paid by the lobbyists. They're like, yeah, I could see how this could be good. Most of them are saying it doesn't look good, because we know that when there's the ability to control something and you have the money to set things up, bad things tend to happen. It's just kind of the way it is. History has taught us that throughout the 19th and 20th century in the United States. When there's money involved and there's a way to circumvent the situation, unfortunately it happens. So we'll have to see.
And nothing like strapping us to having to lock into certain programs and billing up the money every month to have our services that we like to have.
Yeah, precisely. And that's just a really unfortunate situation, because in our case, when we create content on some of our other video channels, if it gets to the point where they're going to be now charging via these content creators who create the things, well, if you create a lot of content but you're not making a lot of money, but you're out there just trying to make a name for yourself, you may end up finding yourself on the short end of the stick, because you can't afford to start up and to go and put the money into that. Whereas someone creating content like a Netflix or Amazon, who can create content and they've got the money, they can do whatever they want and they can really monopolize the market really quite quickly.
Well, that wraps up this week's show. I would like to remind everyone to check out this week's Hometown News for all the great stories and photos, and also check out all the ads in the paper. Without our advertisers, we would not be here to bring you the Hometown News. I'm Lori from the Hometown News TV.
And I'm John from the Hometown News TV. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good night.